Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next day of our Readers Workshop lesson. Today is day 4, and I wanted to talk about character traits today because I really want us to continue practicing how do we describe our characters. And it's a really important skill when we're reading, but also in real life, because sometimes your friends might ask you, well, how would you describe me? And we want to make sure you have the right vocabulary to really describe them accurately. So we are going to model for you how we're going to find and describe our characters today. We're going to do 2 examples, and then we're going to have you try on your own for the last 2. Okay, and again, I put this on our Seesaw account. It's all on the same page, so you don't have to flip back and forth in the different pages, but it's going to be right next to each other. Okay. And so we're going to be reading the story, using the story Big Friends. We're going to model that, and then you're going to try it with the story Square. So you're going to have these 2 pages here, and then we're going to do the one for Big Friends. Okay? And I just wanted to go back to our steps. Again, this is also posted. How do we describe characters? First, we choose an event, which I've already chose for you. Then think about how the character reacted. Look at their actions, their thoughts, or their feelings, because that's going to give us a lot of information about how we can describe them. And then we're going to choose the best word to describe your character. And again, you can use my character chart, trait chart, for some words to use. But I want to remind ourselves we're not going to use happy, sad, or mad, because as first graders, we're ready to graduate from those words. You know them. It's too easy for you. We want you to be more specific with your language. So instead of happy, it could be excited. Instead of sad, maybe they're tired or disappointed, right? Instead of mad, it could be frustrated or angry, using those different vocabulary words to kind of be more specific with how we're describing. And you, of course, don't have to use any of these words. You can use your own as well. Okay, so let's go to this first step. Our first example here is Shu asks, oh, wrong poster. Shu asks Bert and Etho if he can play with them. So that's the event we're looking at. And I want us to think about, how did the character react? What are their thoughts, actions, or feelings? So I'm gonna give you some time to think. Again, we're looking at our second step. Think about how the character reacted. What are their actions, thoughts, and feelings? And then after that, we're going to choose the best word to describe our character. The best word. And teachers, when you're ready, you can give me a thumbs up, and I'm going to document your thinking on the Seesaw app. Miss Akimowicz, can you go ahead and share, please?
Yes, I think Shu is brave because he's asking to play with new people that he doesn't know.
I love that you used the word brave and you explained why you thought that. That's what's going to get you a 3 on this assignment, is you choosing the character trait and you explain why you think that. And that makes sense because when we meet new people, it takes a lot of courage to be able to even ask them if we can be invited. Awesome job, Ms. Kimowicz.
How do I get a 4?
If you want to do a 4, maybe you can come up with more than one character trait, just like we're doing right now. I think that'd be another way, because what we're learning right now is that there can be many different adjectives we can use for our characters. And so I'm modeling for you that our teachers come up with different adjectives, and you can too. We just don't want you to get too overwhelmed. But if you want to challenge yourself and get a 4, you can do the same thing as us, choose 1 or 2 character traits, or 2 or 3 character traits, but I only put 1 box for you. So if you want to do another one, you can always add another text box. Great question, Mr. Kimowicz. Ms. Hernandez, what do you think?
So I'm going to say Shu is friendly because it appears that he likes to play with others.
I love that. I love that example too, because if we're not friendly, then that means we are okay with playing by ourselves. But he seems to be okay, even though he's scared, to ask for new friends to play with. Awesome. Ms. Rosales, do you have a thought?
I'm thinking, I want my 4. I'm thinking that Shu is observant and mindful. And I'm saying he's observant because he watched Bert and Ethos every day. And he's mindful because he knew that everyone had a box. And in order to be inclusive, he needed to have a box as well.
I didn't even notice that. That's a good example. So I'm going to reread it and see if there's anything you'd like to add. I just want to make sure I get your thoughts correct. Shu is observant and mindful because he watched them every day and he knew that everyone had a box. So he brought his own.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I love that Miss Rosales not just used the text, she looked at the pictures. We can use pictures to give us ideas about how to describe our characters because it doesn't say, oh, then she brought a box. We can see in the picture that he brought a box.
Yeah.
Awesome job, teachers. Here's our next event that we're going to go ahead and show. So again, we chose an event. We thought about how the character reacted using their actions, thoughts, and feelings, and we chose the best word to describe our character. So in this event, we have Bert smashes his box, stamps on it, rips it to bits. So let's think, how did this character react? And you might even think, why did this character react that way? And in order to figure out how we can describe him. And of course, readers, if you don't remember this story and you want to go back and look, you can always go back to our previous videos and watch them again. I see that Missy Kimowich is ready. Go ahead, Missy Kimowich.
I want to say that Bert is impulsive, and that's a new word for many of us. It means that you do something without thinking of the consequences. Sometimes that happens when you're very angry. So Bert is impulsive because he smashed the box that he uses to play with his best friend.
I love that you were able to explain what word you're using and what it means, because sometimes we want to make sure, you might see a fancy word, you have to make sure you know what it means before you use it. But I love it because he's not really thinking about the consequences, because now he doesn't have a box to play with, right? So that's probably not a good idea. So I agree, Bert is impulsive because he was just acting out of his emotion, didn't think about it, and made a decision that he can't really change right now. Awesome job, Ms. Kimowich. Ms. Hernandez, would you like to share?
Sure. I'm going to say Bert is angry because he sees that Shu is playing more with his best friend.
I love that. Yes. And I love that Ms. Hernandez is thinking about the why. Why is Bert smashing this box? It's because he's angry and he wants to play. He loves playing with Shu, but he doesn't, or not with Shu, with Etho, but Shu is playing with him, right? And so that asking our characters the why will really help us be able to describe them. Great job. And Ms. Rosales, last but not least.
I was a little bit confused, to be honest with you, because his actions are, I'm thinking more along the lines of how long it took him to get to this point. So he was slow to anger, but I'm not sure how to word that. So I'm going to need help from my coworkers here, because this happened after a couple of days of feeling lonely. And he was hoping for his friends to come around, or his friend to come around and make him feel included. But it took a while for him to get to that point where he was angry.
Maybe he feels abandoned.
Oh, yes.
And I'm thinking of the word that you used, Ms. Rosales. You said about wanting to be included, but maybe here he's feeling the opposite. He's feeling excluded.
But I want to remember that this is a character trait. So we have to think about not how he's feeling, but what it is about
kind
him.
of person he is.
So I'm thinking that he's somebody who wants to feel included. So he is,
And that's where I get stuck, because personality wise, he's like a friendly kid. And it took a lot for him to feel like, I don't belong.
So maybe what I'm hearing you guys saying is that Bert is pretty loyal, because if he cares about his friendships, and the fact that his friend doesn't notice, that he's feeling upset, hasn't reached out, all those moments have added to this one event. And then he's he kind of, because he's so loyal and he's disappointed that his friend is not as loyal as him, that probably made him feel a certain way. But it's your idea, Mr. Rosales. You can decide what word is going to work best for you.
I like that. I like the word loyal because it really encompasses who he is as a person. Because he cares so much and it took him so long to feel upset about something.
Mm-hmm.
Or he didn't feel valued, maybe.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. And I love that we are talking it out. And boys and girls at home, you need to talk it out to kind of think about it, because we don't want to just finish this assignment and do it quickly. We really want to think about the words we're using and why, because that's really going to challenge our brains to really think deeply about our characters. Because actually, this is a very positive characteristic. Loyal is such a positive word to describe someone, even though this event seems very not expected behavior or very negative, right? But we see that it happens because inside there's just such a good quality that's being ignored. And maybe sometimes when you're at home, you feel disappointed or upset because you're being challenged in how people see you and what you value. And so that happens sometimes. So I'm grateful that we're able to talk it out and learn a lot more about how can we be specific in describing our characters. So great work, teachers. Now it's your turn, boys and girls. You're going to do the same thing using the same steps, except you're using it with the story square. And so I'm going to read to you the event. And again, you only need to come up with one character trait, but if you want 4, you can do 2 or 3. And so the event I chose for your first activity is this part where Square says, "Ah!" cried Square. He had carved the whole block away. There was nothing left. He was surrounded by rubble. Whatever is the opposite of perfect, that is what this is. I must stay up all night and figure this out. So again, I want you to think about, how is Square reacting? What are his actions, thoughts, or feelings? And then choose the best word to describe him. Okay, last moment. And then the second one I want you to do is with circle. In this moment, it says, "It was beautiful. It was beguiling. It is perfect," said Circle. And I want you to think, how is Circle reacting? What are her actions, thoughts, or feelings in this moment? And even you can use what you know about her in other parts of the story, and choose the best word to describe your character. Okay? So again, there are so many different character traits to describe characters and even people. As you can tell that all our teachers came up with 3 very different thoughts. But as long as you're able to support your idea with evidence from the text, you're good to go. Okay? So great job, everyone. We will see you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe.